What's up, Sam?
Doing well. Headed out to Ashburn right now. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Ashburn was buzzing yesterday, right, when they let the fans in?
I couldn't believe the line going from the gate all the way out to Loudoun County Parkway, Sam.
Yeah, it was pretty unbelievable, guys. It was a lot smaller than last year just because of the way that, the camp is set up this year. They had like 10,000 last year. They had nearly 3,000 yesterday, but it still was a pretty impressive crowd and obviously a sign that, Jaden Daniels went down almost the entire line of fans to sign autographs, and there were a lot of Daniels jerseys out there. So definitely, that optimism and buzz is definitely happening around camp.
We were having a discussion earlier that if you just kind of monitor social media, everything is rosy with Jaden Daniels. Is there anything negative that you're seeing? Because it all seems positive. You see perfect throws into the net. You see, bombs.
Yeah, is he making
mistakes?
It's like
he's perfect.
He's a rookie quarterback. Is he making rookie mistakes?
I will say, guys, he is really impressive for a rookie quarterback. I mean, he's making not just like with the athleticism or the throws, which you can't entirely see because pads aren't coming on until today. But he's changing protections. He's like sliding the line to pick up, like when the nickel corner blitzes. He's doing impressive things like that. But I will say that some of the videos I think on Twitter are a little bit overplayed. Like these aggregator accounts are throwing up. He hits the net one time and it's like dart emoji, dart emoji, dart emoji. And if you go out there, like he's hitting the net one of 4 times, just about the same rate, if not a little better than his teammates or, all 3 other quarterbacks. But it's not like he's hitting the net every single time, which I think that if you were just looking at Twitter, you might think that's true.
What about the breakdown of reps right now between Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota? I'm a little concerned over the amount of reps that Mariota's getting, personally.
Wait. You're worried about how impressive Mariota looks?
No, I'm worried about the number of reps.
No, because
Cakes doesn't want him to touch the ball.
Because we heard look impressive.
We heard that Mariota was running with the ones more than JD.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. It's split pretty evenly right now, but Mariota is definitely getting reps with the ones in 2-minute drill, things like that. 11-on-11. So, I mean, certainly, how do I say this? An approach that Dan Quinn's staff is taking. They don't think that splitting the reps is going to be hurtful to Jaden's development. Terry McLaurin and right tackle Andrew Wiley both told me that they don't think it'll be that bad for him either. But obviously, the question, guys, is how long does this persist? Are we talking about, is this going to be through joint practice? Is it going to be through the first preseason game? I would imagine not, because you want Jaden to get every first-team rep that you can, because it's obvious he's going to be the starter. It's not even just like, oh, we picked this kid number 2. He's just clearly the better quarterback out there right now. And so I'm very curious to see how long they're going to split these reps as well.
Sam, I think the only real glaring mistake I've seen Jaden make on a daily basis is he's walking out to the practice field with that dreamboat Sam Hartman every day, with his flowing long hair, and he's just getting handsome shamed by Sam Hartman every day. That's the only real mistake that I can tell Jaden's making.
Yeah, and I will say, guys, that the actual quarterback battle that we should be talking about is not Jaden and Marcus. It's Sam Hartman versus Jeff Driscoll for quarterback 3. And I think that Jeff Driscoll probably has the inside edge right now. He's taking the third-team reps. But Sam Hartman has a lot of fans. I mean, there was like a bunch of high school-age boys out there yesterday who were yelling like, Sam Hartman, we love you. Sam Hartman, we love your hair. What's your hair care routine? He's definitely a darling of camp so far, for sure.
Joined by Sam Fortier, Commanders reporter for the Washington Post, at Sam Fortier on Twitter. You tweeted this yesterday. Kicking situation is a growing concern in Commanders camp. Ramiz Ahmed with his second right goalpost doink and in as many days. And look, this is the Brandon McManus thing blowing up in their face. The plan was not to have a UFL kicker come in and kick for them. They spent decent money on McManus, obviously had to let him go out in the wake of the sexual assault allegations. Talk about the concern level right now with the kicking game.
I mean, yeah, if they had a regular season game tomorrow, I don't think you'd be very confident, particularly, for any kick further than 50 yards. I mean, he has not made very many, if any of those so far in camp. And, Obviously, been doinking 2 days in a row. That's not great. So I would say, look, but there's not a lot of like great options out there. Most teams have a lot of teams have two kickers. One team has three, I believe. And so it's I'm sure they're monitoring those competitions to figure out, okay, who's going to be our next best option. But right now, like on the street, there's not a whole lot better. There's not a whole lot of better options than what you got right now.
So on that same note, Dustin Hopkins, who was thrown overboard 6 games into the 2021 campaign by Ron, since he's left the Commanders, he's gone 60 for 66 on his field goal attempts with both the Chargers and the Browns. He inks a long-term extension. So just another in a long line of Ron Rivera personnel gaffes. Dustin Hopkins clearly blooming late in his career. I believe he's 33 now. He wasn't kicking at this level with the Commanders, but he's done well since he's left.
Yeah, and I would say it's kind of a stark contrast, right, to like how they handled the Cameron Cheeseman situation last year, where he was, having trouble with the long snapping. They stuck by him for a really like longer than Cheeseman even expected, saying that he thought he would be cut a lot earlier. So it is certainly the special teams unit, like other units on the field, still trying to recover from that era.
So what do we expect today? They're going full pads today, correct? What do we expect?
Yeah, I think you're going to see physicality in the trenches. I mean, really, like you haven't been able to evaluate the offensive line at all this year because in the spring it's more of a passing camp. It's really hard to like get a read on those guys. But I think today I'm very curious to see, is Brandon Coleman the starting left tackle? Is Cornelius Lucas the starting left tackle? Is Andrew Wiley back in drills like he said he expected to be yesterday? So I think it's time to figure out, like, hey, what do we got in the trenches right now?
Is the offensive line the area of biggest concern? I know we're talking about different areas of concern, but is it the biggest concern for fans, you think, going in?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be because the team hasn't dedicated a lot of money or a lot of draft capital to it. I think the interior of the line is going to be all right. Allegretti, Biotish, and Cosme, I think, are a solid trio. But if you're looking at the tackle position, there's a lot of question marks there. And I think the fans should be justifiably concerned, especially when you have a thin, mobile quarterback.
I guess, Sam, you'll be able to figure out more stuff at when they're going full pads in terms of the defensive performance. But Jamin Davis so far, what have you seen from Jamin? Do you think that his roster spot is in jeopardy, or do you think that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt really want to use him in a kind of a Micah Parsons way? And do you think he's pretty safe as an edge rusher, maybe as a backup, but somewhere in that rotation?
I think the Micah Parsons comparisons are probably a little lofty.
Yeah.
And I would say I would say that I wouldn't be shocked if he were cut, but I also don't think it's like the likeliest outcome right now, just because I think they want to try him out in different positions. But I mean, the dude is just, I think he's like 235, 240. Like he's a little light to be playing edge rusher. Like I saw him in a one-on-one rep. Maybe it was yesterday, maybe it was Friday. But he tried to run through Brandon Coleman, a rookie, and Brandon Coleman had zero problem just like shoving Jamin aside. And so, he has had some good reps in camp for sure when they've moved him around a little bit. But like, if you're a guy whose hallmark is supposed to be athleticism, outside linebacker, see ball, get ball, it's not a vote of confidence to be trying something new that your body doesn't seem to be suited for. And so I think that he's definitely on the bubble, but just, because of who he is, I imagine he's safer than not, but I wouldn't be shocked if he got cut.
Sam, fill in the blank here. Most likely player on the Commanders with 10-plus sacks is?
Dorrance Armstrong. I think, he's an ascending player. They gave him the money. He can do a bunch of different things. He can do different things on the line. I think that if you're going to bet on one guy, edge rusher. My mind was just on edge rusher. I still think I'd pick Dorrance Armstrong above one of the interior guys, even though those are your studs. But yeah, I would probably say Dorrance Armstrong, even though I'm not giving you a strong take right now.
Huh. All right, so out of the other rookies besides Jaden, McCaffrey, you talked about Brandon Coleman a little bit. Sinnott at tight end. On the defensive side, Sandra Still, Johnny Newton. Anybody kind of jump out at you so far through 5 days?
Sandra Still is like basically the starting nickel. So I think that he's probably going to have one of the largest roles on the team. McCaffrey, I think, is going to be, one of their 3 receiver locks for this roster. So he should have a role. Sinnott will probably be, split with Zach Ertz. So I'd say Sandra Still, if he's the day one starting nickel, which I think he is, then, he's going to have, the biggest role. And I think he's popped so far. His quickness and the ball skills, I think, are legit. The former receiver, he's someone that the Commanders love, and just a type of DB that they really appreciate, even though he's not as big as they probably would like. But I see him having a strong impact. But then again, guys, let's go back to last year when Emmanuel Forbes was killing it in camp, and then you come out during the regular season, and that's not how it goes. So I'm pretty skeptical of even my own observations from the first 5 days.
Who right now are the ones at corner? Is it St. Juste and Forbes, or is Michael Davis getting some ones at corner?
They've done a lot of rotating, but right now, if you were like, who are the ones based on that, it would be St. Juste and Forbes.
Okay, all right. And Forbes looks good because he gained some weight?
So, I'm skeptical that he put on as much weight as he and Dan Quinn say. And even if he did put on that weight,
right.
Okay, what's the number now? Because he was 166 at the combine. He was 173 on the roster last year. They got him listed at 180 on the website. So what is the 15, 17 pounds up from? Is it up from 166? Because maybe I could believe that. But there's no way he's 185, 190, something like that. Unless he steps on a scale in public, I would have a hard time believing that.
Got you.
All right, Sam. Good stuff. We'll talk to you soon.
Have fun today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Sam Fortier from the Washington Post filling us in on Washington Commanders training camp.